Have you ever woke up one morning, stared at the ceiling, and just thought, I really do not care about anything today?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is a very heavy feeling.
It really is. Or maybe, you had a really big dream a few months ago, like a goal at work, or maybe a new language you wanted to learn.
Right, something you were really excited.
Exactly. But now that dream just feels incredibly far away, and you do not know why you stopped trying.
It is a heavy feeling when you wake up and the whole world just feels gray
Yeah.
and difficult.
Yeah.
But the truth is, it is a feeling almost everyone experiences, even if people do not like to talk about it out loud.
That is so true, and that is exactly why you are here with us today. Our mission in this deep dive is to really explore this heavy, sometimes guilty feeling of losing your motivation.
Right, because it causes a lot of secret pain.
It does. So the articles we are looking at today, they explain exactly why this happens to our brains. And more importantly, we want to learn how to gently get that bright spark back.
Using very simple, clear steps. Because people often blame themselves. They look in the mirror and think, oh, I am just lazy.
Because they can't find the energy to do just normal, everyday things. So, okay, let's unpack this. I want to start with a big frame question for you.
Sure, go ahead.
When we completely lose our drive, is that a sign of personal failure? Like, does it mean we just have a bad personality? Or is this just a biological reality of being a human?
I can answer that very clearly. It is absolutely not a personal failure, not at all.
Oh, that is a relief.
Right. What is fascinating here is that we often think of motivation as a permanent character trait.
Like you are either born a motivated person or you were born a lazy person.
Exactly. But the science shows us that is completely false. Motivation is simply an energy source inside your brain.
Okay, an energy source.
Yeah, it is renewable,
Hmm.
which means you can always create more of it, but it is also depletable.
Meaning you can completely run out of it.
Exactly. You can run completely empty.
So it is exactly like fuel in a car. I mean, you can't expect a car to drive for thousands of miles without ever stopping for more gas.
Precisely. If your car stops working on the side of the road because the gas tank is empty, you don't yell at the car.
Right, you don't hit the steering wheel and say, oh, this car is a moral failure.
No, you just understand that it needs more fuel to keep going. And our human brains work the exact same way.
So if we want to fix this, we can't just yell at ourselves. We need to understand what motivation actually is.
And we need to figure out what is draining our fuel tank.
Right, because we can't solve the problem until we know the cause. So how should we define motivation based on the research?
The simplest way to define it is that it's the invisible energy that makes you want to take action.
The reason you stand up and get out of bed.
Exactly. When you have this energy, life just feels a bit easier. You feel excited to work or create things or just go outside.
But when that invisible energy is gone, wow, everything feels incredibly heavy.
It really does.
When your motivation tank is empty, even tiny tasks feel impossible. I mean, just making a piece of toast for breakfast. Or typing a 2-word reply to a friend's text message.
Yeah, it suddenly feels like trying to lift a giant rock. The heaviness is very real physically.
So why does this happen?
Well, to understand why, we need to look at the main culprits, the specific things that steal our motivation. And the biggest thief of all is burnout.
Burnout. Yeah, we hear that word a lot, but the articles describe this as a deeply physically tired brain.
Right. It happens when we carry too much stress, or we worry about the future too much.
And we just do not sleep enough.
Exactly. So think about your smartphone. What happens when your phone battery hits 1%?
Oh, the screen gets very dark, everything moves incredibly slowly, apps won't open,
Right.
and then it just shuts off completely to save whatever tiny bit of power it has left.
Your brain does the exact same thing.
Really?
Yeah. When you work too hard for too long without giving your mind a break, your brain's battery goes to 0%. A deeply tired brain simply does not want to do anything. It shuts down your motivation on purpose.
On purpose?
Yes, it removes your desire to work because it is trying to protect you from total exhaustion.
Oh, I see. So a lack of motivation here is actually a survival mechanism. Your brain is literally forcing you to stop.
Exactly.
But what if we aren't physically tired? Like, what if we get plenty of sleep, but we still feel completely unmotivated?
That brings us to another major thief of motivation, and that is predictable routine.
Routine.
Yes. The human brain naturally loves to discover new things. It needs a little bit of surprise.
Oh, okay.
But when your life feels like a continuous, unbreakable loop
Like you wake up at the same time, do the same job, eat the exact same food.
and see the exact same walls,
Yes.
yes, the brain gets incredibly bored. And a bored brain stops producing the energy you need to feel excited.
And because our brains hate being bored, we go looking for excitement, which I think leads us to a very interesting and kind of dangerous chemical in the brain.
Yes. This is where we run into dopamine overload.
Right, dopamine.
Dopamine is a natural chemical inside our brains. You can think of it as the ultimate feel-good reward.
Okay.
When you finally finish a difficult project at work or have a great conversation with a friend, your brain gives you a little drop of dopamine.
It makes you feel happy, satisfied, and motivated to do it again.
Exactly. But the research warns us about how our modern world has totally taken over this system.
Especially our phones and social media apps.
That is right, because the phone offers instant reward. When you scroll through short videos, you do not just get a little drop of dopamine.
You get a massive, fast flood of it.
Yes, you are getting too much of this feel-good chemical with zero effort.
Okay, but wait. If I am getting all this dopamine, shouldn't I feel more motivated? Why does looking at my phone make me feel lazy?
Is a great question. To understand this, imagine walking out of a very dark movie theater directly into the bright afternoon sun. What happens to your eyes?
Oh, it actually hurts. You have to squint. You are completely blinded by the light for a minute until your eyes can adjust.
Exactly. Your brain works the exact same way with dopamine.
Oh, wow.
When you scroll on your phone for an hour, you are staring at the bright, blinding sun of excitement. Your brain gets overwhelmed.
So to protect itself, it turns down its sensitivity.
Yes. It essentially puts on dark sunglasses.
Oh, that makes so much sense. So when I finally put the phone down and try to do something normal like read a book or go for a walk or study English, my brain is still wearing those dark sunglasses.
Precisely. Normal life suddenly feels incredibly boring by comparison.
Yeah.
Reading a book does not give you a fast flood of dopamine.
It is more like a quiet, gentle light.
Right. But because your brain is wearing those dark sunglasses, it cannot see the gentle light at all.
So your brain looks at the book and says, well, why should I work hard to read this when I can just look at my phone and feel amazing instantly?
Exactly. The phone literally steals your motivation for real life.
Here is where it gets really interesting, though. If dopamine is stealing our drive from the outside, there is also something stealing it from the inside.
Yes, there is.
And that is walking without a map, having no clear goal, and being paralyzed by the fear of failure.
Yes. If you do not know your destination, your brain is not going to give you the energy to walk there.
Right.
But more importantly, many people know their goal, but they are terrified of making a mistake. They suffer from perfectionism.
They want everything to be perfect on the very first try, so they never even start.
Exactly.
But wait, isn't the fear of failure just our brain's weird way of protecting us? Like, it is like the burnout thing, right?
That is a beautiful way to understand it.
Yeah.
His fear is just a confused protection mechanism.
How so?
Your brain thinks if we try to learn a new language, we might fail. Failing makes us feel sad and embarrassed.
So, to keep us completely safe from feeling embarrassed, I will just remove all motivation.
Exactly. We will stay on the sofa. The sofa is safe.
Wow. Your brain thinks it is helping you, but it is actually keeping you totally stuck.
Yes, it is.
Okay, this is so helpful. We know the thieves now. We know that physical burnout, boring routines, dopamine floods from our screens, and the quiet fear of failure are the things draining our fuel tank.
Right.
So, since we know what empties the tank, how do we actually refill it? We need to move from the problem to the solution.
The research provides some wonderful, simple solutions. But the most important rule is that these solutions must be low pressure.
Low pressure. Okay.
If you try to fix everything in one day, you will just cause more burnout. So the very first step to gently restart your motivation is to start incredibly small.
Start small.
Yes, this is called the 2-minute rule.
The 2-minute rule, the concept is simple, right? If a task takes less than 2 minutes to do it immediately.
Exactly. And if you have a massive, scary task, do not think about the whole thing. Just agree to do the first 2 minutes of it.
The articles use a great example about exercise.
Yes, they do.
If you want to go for a run, but you feel heavy and lazy, do not think about the full run. Just put your running shoes on. That is it.
Exactly. Just putting the shoes on is a tiny, safe action. It takes less than 2 minutes.
Okay, wait. I have to push back on this a little bit.
Sure.
If my battery is at 0% and I am completely exhausted, does just putting on my shoes really trick my brain into doing a whole workout?
You are skeptical.
Well, yeah, because I know I am trying to trick myself. It feels a bit silly, you know?
It is a very fair question.
Yeah.
And it does sound like a cheap trick, but it is actually based on physics and how your brain calculates effort.
Okay, explain that.
Have you ever tried to push a heavy car that breaks down?
Oh, yes. getting it to move that very first inch is incredibly difficult. You have to push with all your strength.
Right. But once the tires start
It
rolling,
gets much easier to keep it moving.
exactly. In physics, that initial push is called activation energy.
Activation energy, okay.
Your brain has an effort calculator inside it. When you sit on the sofa and think about a 1-hour run, your brain sees a giant mountain.
Right.
The effort calculator says, no, the activation energy for a 1-hour run is way too high. Stay sitting.
But when I only think about putting my shoes on,
Your brain recalculates. It says, oh, just putting on shoes. The activation energy for that is very low. We have enough fuel for that.
oh, wow.
You trick the effort calculator,
Mm.
and once the shoes are on, the car is already rolling. You have broken the paralysis.
That makes total sense now. The hardest part of any journey is simply opening the heavy front door.
Exactly. You are not tricking your motivation. You are just lowering the cost of starting.
Now, another step the articles mention for a gentle restart is taking a real rest.
Yes.
But here's my question. If I feel unmotivated and I sit on the sofa for 3 hours scrolling through short videos on my phone, why do I feel even more exhausted after?
Because of the dopamine.
Right. Shouldn't my battery be charging while I sit there?
This is a crucial distinction. Sitting down is not always resting. Scrolling on your phone is fake rest.
Fake rest.
Think back to the dopamine sunglasses. When you look at a screen, your eyes are darting around. Your brain is rapidly processing bright colors, loud music, changing voices.
New information every 3 seconds.
Yes. Your brain is running a marathon while your body is sitting still.
So a real rest, according to the science, is giving your brain actual silence.
Yes. Real rest is low stimulation. It is going for a slow walk outside with no music and no podcasts.
Just listening to the wind in the trees.
Exactly. Or it is just sitting quietly by a window with a cup of warm tea, watching the clouds.
Your brain needs silence to organize its thoughts and heal.
And when you give it true, quiet rest, the battery finally begins to charge.
I love that. Now, the next step to getting our spark back is beautiful. The advice is to remember your why.
Remembering your why.
Yes. One of the articles shared a story about a student who absolutely loved drawing. Drawing gave them deep joy.
Right.
But then they went to art school and they started drawing only to get good grades. Suddenly, the fun disappeared and drawing felt like a terrible chore.
This happens to so many adults in their careers, too. We start a hobby or a job because we genuinely love it.
But over time, the world gets involved.
Exactly. We focus only on the result. We focus on making money or getting a promotion or worrying about what other people think of our work.
The external pressure crushes the internal motivation.
Yes. So, to get the energy back, we have to mentally travel back in time.
We have to strip away the pressure and remember the simple joy we felt on day one.
Exactly. Ask yourself, why did I start doing this in the first place? Reconnecting with that pure, simple reason is a powerful way to wake up your natural drive.
Another simple step is to intentionally break your routine. We talked about how the brain hates being bored.
Yes, the brain needs novelty.
The research says that injecting tiny bits of novelty into your day can wake your brain up.
And it does not have to be a big, expensive vacation. You do not need to fly to a new country to find novelty.
It can be a micro change, like cook a brand new recipe for dinner tonight.
Or walk down a completely different street when you go to the grocery store.
Or just smile and say good morning to someone you usually walk past in silence.
Yes. These tiny new experiences are like a splash of cool water on your brain. It breaks the boring loop.
And finally, if you are feeling deeply unmotivated, you need to talk to someone.
This is so important.
Because when our battery is empty, human beings naturally hide. We stay inside our own heads, and in the dark, our negative feelings just grow bigger and heavier.
Getting those thoughts out of your head is vital. Sharing your feelings with a trusted friend, or even just writing your messy thoughts down in a private notebook, stops you from feeling trapped.
You bring the heavy thoughts out into the light where they aren't so scary anymore.
We must remember that we are social creatures. It is always okay to ask for help. You do not have to carry the heavy rock entirely on your own.
Okay, so we have these great tools now. We know how to lower the activation energy with the 2-minute rule. We know the difference between fake rest and real quiet rest.
And we know to try new things to break the loop.
But there is a massive warning in the research. You cannot apply these tools with a harsh, angry mindset.
That is entirely true. If you are angry at yourself while you try to fix this, nothing will work.
There is a very relatable personal story in the reading about exactly this.
Yes, a story about someone who used to love going to the gym. It was their favorite part of the day.
But suddenly, for no obvious reason, they lost all desire to go. The heavy void just swallowed them.
Usually when this happens to us, we panic. We look in the mirror and we say terrible things to ourselves.
We call ourselves lazy, weak, or useless.
But this person did something radically different. Instead of panicking, they practiced radical self-acceptance.
They stopped fighting it. They just said, okay, I am very tired right now. My body does not want to move, and that is okay.
And from that place of peace, they used the small steps. They didn't yell at themselves to go lift heavy weights for an hour.
They just started walking outside for 10 minutes every morning. There was absolutely no pressure to do more.
And the amazing part is what happened next. After 2 weeks of just gentle, pressure-free walking, the motivation naturally woke up again.
They actually wanted to go back to the gym. They didn't force it to happen.
This shows us how vital our inner voice is. Let's use a very clear analogy here. Think of your motivation like a plant.
Okay, a plant.
Yes. If you have a small plant, you cannot force it to grow faster. You can't just pull on the leaves and yell at it to grow.
Right, that would just break the plant.
Exactly. You can only create the right small conditions. You give it water, you give it sunlight.
And then you just let it grow on its own.
Yes. You have to be patient.
I love this analogy. So what does this all mean for us? If motivation is a plant, then feeling guilty and beating yourself up is basically like pouring poison into the soil, right?
That is exactly what it is. You cannot grow a healthy plant in poisoned soil.
So you can't shame yourself into being motivated.
No. Self-kindness, patience, and tiny steps. That is how you give the plant sunlight and water.
This has been such a great deep dive through this research. We've explored the biology of burnout, the trap of fake rest, and the physics of just starting.
If we bring all of these pieces together, the core message today is very simple, but it can change your life.
Yes.
Losing your drive, feeling heavy, wanting to just stay in bed, this does not mean you are a bad person.
Does not mean you are broken.
No. It simply means you are a human being, and human batteries run low.
So the secret is to treat yourself the way you would treat a good friend. Be kind to yourself when you are tired. Give your brain the gift of quiet silence.
And when you are finally ready to move, do not look at the top of the mountain. Just look at the tiny step right in front of your shoes.
If you are listening to this right now and you are feeling unmotivated today, please know that you are not alone. It is completely okay to feel this way.
Absolutely.
Do not try to change your whole life this afternoon. Just take one small step today. If you want to exercise, just put the shoes on. Do not even tie the laces if you do not want to. Just put the shoes on. That is enough.
And as we finish our deep dive today, I want to leave you with one final thought to explore on your own.
Oh.
It builds on what we discussed about dopamine and the bright screens that blind us. We know our phones make normal life feel boring. So, what would happen if you gave your brain a completely boredom day?
A boredom day.
Yes. What if, for just one weekend day, you intentionally hid your phone in a drawer, you turn off the television, you put away the computer, and you give yourself absolutely nothing fast or exciting to do for 24 hours?
Wow, that sounds intense.
At first, it would feel incredibly uncomfortable. You would feel restless. But after a few hours, when your brain finally takes off those dark dopamine sunglasses, what natural forgotten motivations might suddenly wake up in the silence?
Oh, you might suddenly feel the urge to bake bread or paint or finally write that letter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to let yourself be completely bored before you can find out what you truly want to do.